So let me ask you this, I mean, and the great thing, Conscious Investor, that I appreciate having investors on the program, that have experience on the passive side of things. And Oliver happens, he's on the active side as well. And so it's really creates a very rich and dynamic perspective into all of this. And your experience, like you've built out a company and been extremely successful. So you're a builder. Through and through, you're a builder. And I appreciate that. You just need like one of those shirts that says builder, done. Full stop, builder. So let me ask you this. When you started placing your first passive investment, you mentioned, okay, how did you even discover that was an option?
Yeah, I remember it so clearly. I was just renovating like these row homes here in Washington, DC, and I was converting them into duplexes and triplexes. And I was like, man, I'm going to do a bigger deal. I want to do like a bigger deal, like a 10 or a 15 unit deal. And I was like, I started listening to some podcasts, and I came across Ron Cleef's podcast, and then he started talking about cash flow from day one. I'm like, dude, I don't get cash flow from day one in these development deals. Like, I got to wait almost a year and a half for permitting, construction, all this stuff. And like, I'm basically carrying an 800-pound gorilla on my back, making all those payments to the bill, like to the contractors, to, I still got to pay the taxes, you still got to pay insurance, you got to pay the note on the loan and all that stuff. And I was like, what? Cash flow day one? Oh, what? Like, you still can do construction when 10 of your tenants move out of a 100-unit building, and then you're still 90% occupied? And I was like, wow, what is this? So like, I flew out there to his event. And then at this event, he had the panel, the same panels that we were on, right? And I was like, listening to these people talking, they're like, yeah, I have 3,000 units, and I have 5,000 units, and I have 1,500 units. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And then it was like he started talking about like, we want to be in a situation where he's got 10 people working on one problem. And I really started resonating with some of the investors that were on the stage. And I was like, having a conversation with them after they were on stage. And he's like, hey, I have a couple deals coming up. And I was like, yeah, I'm really interested. I had started to refinance some of my properties to do that bigger 10 or 15 unit deal. So I already had some cash, and I did my due diligence on him, and I did my due diligence on the deal. And then I was like, this is where I was being conscious. I was being intentional about where I wanted my life to go in the next 5 years, 10 years. And I was like, I'm going to make this investment, because I always find that, wherever your money goes, your attention goes, right? Yeah. And I knew that by making this investment into that deal, my attention would go there as well, which then would really create this vortex pulling me into doing more of these type of deals.
I love the vortex, by the way. That's just, it's so true. And this is really true. If we track wherever our money goes. And so, I mean, it's such a great way to say, well, if I want to grow in this skill and ability, I want to grow my knowledge, I can put my money over there. And it's absolutely a powerful way to do this. And I love that you put yourself in a position, conscious investor. I'm coming out of a very busy season of traveling to events to speak at them and such. Events are so powerful. So I love that you were, I'm going to this event. By the way, Rod's events are they're fun. And the people you meet at any event are going to be exceptional. So that's what I found. I go to a lot of different events, but this draws a certain caliber of person, and Rod's just brings also this mindset component to it that resonates. And this is not that I have so many people in my life and in my network that are awesome. So this is not a commercial to attend, all of Rod's next boot camp. But I would definitely say if you're looking for an event, that's a great event to attend. And there will be one in the fall that you can look into. Again, Just, hey, it's all about building everybody up. It changed my life, and every event does. So go to events is the point of what I'm saying, conscious investor, and be swift and diligent about it. I also love that you found somebody, you were paying attention, you were sitting there, you're watching everybody on stage, you were internalizing, wait, you resonate with me. You should, conscious investor, you should stalk people. Stalk whoever's on stage. If they resonate with you, you stalk them and you hunt them down. They're there to serve and support. They're not there to be up on the stage and then run around. They're there. And one of the responsibilities of speakers is to be available, go and support the attendees and answer the questions and get to know them as well. So you're not stepping out of bounds by going up to speakers and such. So kudos on that. That was really awesome.
Yeah.
In that, as you're inspecting, doing your due diligence on this investor and that lead sponsor team, what were some of the things that you were looking for?
So for me, I always like to be like in alignment with people, right? Like if I want to do big deals, like, and you want to do small deals, like we're already out of alignment. So that's a big thing for me. Like he wanted to do big deals, I want to do big deals. And the next thing for me was that I wanted to go see the properties. I just didn't want to make an investment. I wanted to also grow as well. And that's a huge thing for me, is like grow. And he was willing to like show me the game. I kind of like open up his his jacket and let me kind of see how this thing really gets done, And then because I know that if I made this thing familiar to me, then the next decision to do these types of deals would become easier. And he was willing to do that. So, and then the third thing was, I wanted to just have a better understanding of who that person was, and he was willing to just have that conversation with me and walk me through what he's done, what he's learned from it, both the good and the bad. Like I was saying before, it's the imperfect entrepreneur. Like no one's perfect in their journey of life or growth, right? But it's the people that continue to stay after and make the proper adjustments so that they can strive for perfection. Those are the people that I like being around. And he was one of those people, and he also had an abundant mindset, right? Which goes back to the first thing. It's like you got to stay in alignment with like goals and targets, and those are my things that I ran through with that investor before I made that final decision.
Mm-hmm. Those are such critical things. You know what And I resonate with kind of your qualifications there. What's interesting, conscious investor, is that I didn't hear, and I know that you did look at this, but it's like the numbers will make sense. But if you're not like you're only going to invest in something where the numbers make sense more, but having that alignment, I'm very partner driven myself, and very like, who are the partners? What are the relationships here? This resonates completely with my own ethos. So
yeah, and to be 100% transparent, like I didn't know every number like in the beginning. Like there was no way that I would have known every number in the beginning. Like I wasn't a pro, and like that, like and that's something that can potentially stop a lot of people from getting started. But then that's why it's like so important to understand who you're dealing with, right? And then like building that relationship, having that person walk me through the deal, and like he walked me through it, and like he said, these are the assumptions, but like he's telling me the assumptions, but at that point in time, I didn't know if that assumption was good or bad. So even if I didn't have enough experience to even have an opinion on that. So it's like it's really making sure you're in alignment with that person. And then also I love accountability. Like he was putting money in the deal on himself. So like that's why I always put money in the deal, because there's got to be that level of accountability. So like, and then that gives me confidence and trust that like, hey, this is something good, because he's putting that money, his own money, into that deal. And it's like, look back to my old philosophy there. So my one of my mentors said, like, you're eating your own dog food. It's like It's like, here's the dog food. Like, if you're willing to eat it, I'm willing to eat it, type of thing. So in the beginning, that's how and he helped me hone my game in terms of understanding what to look for and what not to look for. And then at the same time, I started getting my own experience of what was good and what wasn't good. And those numbers became internalized. So now I can just look at things pretty quickly and say, like, yes, this is a good deal, or this is not a good deal.
Mm-hmm. These are all critical factors right here. Absolutely critical. I'm like, nothing to say. You just dropped it. Boom. Perfect.
I felt the same way when I was listening to you talk on Rod's podcast or the Rod's event, right? It was like, oh my God, I'm just so in alignment with that message. There's nothing else to say.
Like, thank you. And, oftentimes it's like listening to you, and how you articulate things and knowing like how similar our thinking is, the underlying philosophy. My head cold is getting the better of me, I think. But I'll just say it's always lovely to hear another way of expressing it and communicating it. So absolutely fabulous. Now you're you're not only in, limited, invested. Wow. Sorry, conscious investor. I'll get through this. More vitamin C on the way. But you're invested as a limited partner and you're on the active side as well. Let's just, take a little look-see under the hood. What kind of things are you investing in on the active side?
Yeah. So, that bug of like love being involved in the deals. And like, I'm, like I was saying before to you, like I'm a builder, I'm an operator. I love adding value in that way, on these deals. And what like where I try to focus is like on the construction side. So like a lot of the things that we're investing in are value add deals, and they're not like crazy value add, right? But there's still like there's construction that needs to be done. And I love getting involved in that portion of the deal. And then like I have my other partners that are really good at finding the debt. I have other partners that are really good at finding the deal, right? And then I have other partners that are really good at dealing with all the operation side of the thing. So like I stay like really focused in my lane of like adding value through construction. And the cool thing about that is that's oftentimes where we make most of our money in these deals, right? Like if you have that renovation strategy of like, you're spending 10 grand to get $200 rent increases. Now all of a sudden you're making, 24% on your money, and all of those things add up over time. And then you add that multiplier effect with commercial real estate. Now all of a sudden you've created a big value increase in the property and additional cash flow on a monthly, quarterly basis. So I focus a lot of my attention on the construction. I'll give you an example. So like one of the deals that we did, and this is one of the early deals, and I love talking about this too, because I put so much time and energy in the single family game, and I wanted to see how this would translate to the quote unquote big leagues, 100+ units, right? But it translated perfectly, right? So this deal that we were doing, we're over here in Washington, D.C. It was a row home that we converted to a duplex. The duplex consisted of the basement first floor, and then there was the second floor, third floor, which was the second unit. And the first unit was basement first floor. So tenant moves into the basement first floor. First day they're there, I get a phone call. There's water in the basement. I was like, no. Me and my wife were literally getting ready to go to like a cooking class that we got for our wedding. And I was like so disappointed to get that call and having to cancel because literally they had water in the basement. I had to figure all that out. But that's what you got to do as an entrepreneur and a business owner and a real estate investor, right? Oh, actually an active real estate investor, right? I just want to make that clear. But so that we got water in the basement, and then we had to fix that, right? And through working with the waterproofer that fixed that issue, I learned so much. And then we bought this big deal, right? It was 152 units down in Atlanta, Georgia. And there was like 15 units that had water damage. And that exact same strategy that I learned on the duplex deal, I was able to apply to that big deal. And the reason why this is like so important is because there was three other people that had this deal under contract that once they went through due diligence, they backed out. They were scared of it, but we weren't scared of it. And that allowed us to buy the deal and make a ton of money on that deal. Because like, think about it, there was 15 units that were totally not being rented at all. And now all of a sudden we really grabbed $1,000 a month for each one of those units. So that's like 15,000 multiplied by 12. What's that? That's $180,000 that basically fell to the bottom line. Because we already had property management and everything also in place at the property. So we made a ton of money with that strategy. And the moment was so painful to learn on that small deal, but I was able to multiply it into the big deal and reap the rewards, take advantage of that.
Okay, talk about going full circle. From the very beginning, when we were talking about, some of the challenges that entrepreneurs face and that you're transparent on your podcast about that, to all of these, everything works for us. Everything serves and supports us if we allow it. If we can receive it, even in the pain, the struggle of the moment, it will serve us powerfully. And that not only served you powerfully, but like think about what that did for that complex, because a complex with down units, not only is it losing income, but it's now becoming part of neighborhood blight. Like if anyone isn't going to come in there, the whole building ultimately is going to fall into disrepair. And I'm extrapolating a bit there, but why would somebody go in there and invest and 15 units are down? So, I mean, your pain produced in a time during a huge housing, crisis, because there is not enough housing across our country. We are undersupplied in every market. There are a few that we're okay, but all that to say, like you're providing housing, you're serving, reducing blight, you're increasing the revenue. I mean, this is powerful. I love this.
Yeah, no, it was a really cool deal, and it was just like. You couldn't have said it better. Like it was bringing it full circle, like in that moment when I had that tenant move in and there was water in their basement, I felt like such a loser. Like I felt like, Oliver, how could I renovate this whole property and make a miss on the waterproofing? And it wasn't done properly. And I felt so bad. But like, I'm so glad that I didn't stop being an investor there, and because there's so many people that would stop, right? They would like, oh, I'm never going to do that again. Like, I don't want to ever have a call from a tenant telling me that there's water in my basement, and that's what I mean. We're not perfect, right? Like, but I was there. I canceled my cooking class, and I was there, and I made sure I was personally cleaning up the water, even though I called like 15 people, and they were like, dude, like I'm not coming out tonight. So I made sure it was done right? And I would make sure that tenant had a dry place. But it was just like, seeing that go full circle and being able to come on the other side and actually have that provide a big reward, not only to myself, but to our investors. That was like such a cool feeling. And then just also reinforces never give up, don't stop too soon, like run through the line, not to the line,
Oh my gosh. Just gems, pure gems. I love in the book, The 12-Week Year. I'm surprised it's not sitting right at arm's reach, but he has a diagram in there and it shows like the trough, and most people quit at the bottom of the trough when things are tough. Most people quit. But what happens when we quit at something is that we have to go back to the starting line. So we can choose to learn that lesson, learn it well, and then ride the tide up and use it for other things. But if we choose to quit at anything in life, then we're going to have to learn that lesson again. And I'll tell you what, I'd rather learn the lesson once and move on and ride it on up than have to like, oh, this is hard, I quit. Rinse, repeat. It's a cycle that nobody wants to be in.
That's good. That's real good.
Yeah, I'm extrapolating a little bit further on maybe how he said it, but that's what you do. You read books and then you get to expand it with your mind a little bit further. Any parting thoughts as we wrap things up. I looked at the time, like, holy, I knew, I'm like, we got to hit record because you and I are going to talk. I know it. So any final thoughts that you would say passive investors should definitely be aware of this, and or conscious investor, you especially need to be aware of?
Yeah. This, as an investor, there's so many other opportunities out there, right? Or you need to like figure out what's really good for you. And like for me, like I always loved capital preservation. Like when that person was asking like to invest in the deal with them, I was like all the hard work and all the hard time and energy and effort that I put into creating this resource, and now I got to invest it. And like, yes, like it is good to create that resource, but then at the same time, for that resource to really multiply, you're going to have to invest it into something, and you're going to have to allow it to grow and allow it to add additional value to you, because just sitting in a checking account, it's not going to add any value to you, unless you're investing into something really risky, and then it goes down to zero, right? But yeah, just like the conscious investor, just staying conscious about your decisions, staying conscious about where you're investing your money. And like for me, like it was capital preservation, and I love real estate for that reason of capital preservation. Like and then it's like, okay, like cash flow is coming, and like let the nest egg that I just created or invested in like continue to build over time. And that's my words of advice.
I love it. Oliver, it's been so much fun having you on the show. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.